Today was one of those days. Josh Hennig here on GameNight 973 ESPN FM, the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Love to hear what you guys have to say over at 609-403-0973 is the text board. Joe Girardi fired. You know, there was always a possibility this could happen. So we're into the aftermath of what this means moving forward because, we can argue until we're blue in the face if he should or shouldn't have been fired. Well, he was. So now what do we do? Scott Lauber from the Philadelphia Inquirer will join me coming up in less than 20 minutes from now, live from the ballpark to get the latest from him. Scott has covered baseball for a long time in Philadelphia and Boston. He's seen a lot of different versions of baseball, and I'll get his perspective from him because Dave Dombrowski seemed like he made the move because he had no other move to make, I guess, is the theory. So we'll get into all that and more. Plus, NBA Finals last night. Talk about a choke job by the Warriors. The Warriors did their job. They did not let Jason Tatum win that game last night. The problem is they let somebody else win that game. They let Al Horford and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart win the game. So even though Jason Tatum went 3 for 17 last night, the other guys won the game. So we got a lot to get to here on 97.3 ESPN. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City, along with texting in at 609-403-0973. All right. So I'm listening to Dombrowski's speak earlier today. We aired the full press conference during the 2 o'clock hour in the Sports Bash with Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN. And one of the things that Dombrowski said, and I know to some people this might be nitpicking, but, we're in a business where sometimes we all hear and see things that maybe someone else might not have heard and saw. It really felt like Dombrowski might have been pondering this for a while. It really have the way he described the series of events with the whole, I went out for a run to clear my head. I realized when I came in this morning, I called Girardi so I could tell him in person, and all this, and his chronology, his series of events was very, very interesting to me because it really felt like that, to be frank, it felt like Dombrowski may have been considering this for a while. The way he verbalized it, the way he spoke about it, this wasn't something that he just woke up Thursday or Friday and said, it's about time to fire the manager. And I feel like that is something that's very, very important about all of this. This was not an easy decision to make because there's no easy way to go forward with this season if you as the Phillies are doing so with whoever is in charge. They brought this point up on MLB Network this morning, and that was the problem for the Phillies was not the manager. It's the team. The Phillies are either the worst or one of the worst teams in almost every defensive analytic category. They are worst in baseball in runs prevented defensively. They are worst in baseball in outs above average. They're 29th in defensive runs saved. This team defensively they're an abomination. They're absolutely horrible. And Girardi was on the radio today on Sirius XM MLB radio, and he came out and said, look, we lost a bunch of games due to our defense. And I think it's, at the end of the day, Girardi was handed an unrealistic hand. It didn't matter who the manager was. This team's defense is horrible. It doesn't matter who the manager is. This team couldn't get the job done if I was the manager. Because you know what the problem is? The manager doesn't keep Jarius Familia from being an idiot on the field running to first base to cover the base. The manager can't stop Odubel Herrera or Roman Quinn or Castellanos or Schwarber from making boneheaded plays in the outfield. The players got you to this point, and it's got to be the players that get you out. Rob Thompson seems like a great baseball lifer kind of dude. He's got a young Pete Mackinnon vibe to him, okay? When Pete Mackinnon was the manager for the Phillies years ago, he was an older gentleman, but he had been around baseball for a very long time. Rob Thompson has been around baseball for basically 3 decades. And he's got a vibe to him. It's like, look, I know baseball. I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. I've experienced a lot. And I feel like that he's going to come in here and try to put this team in the best position to be successful. But it's on the players to get the job done. It's on the players to go out there and figure out, okay, what is the best way for us to get out of this funk we have been in? I don't think there's anything that Rob Thompson can say to any of these players that's going to drastically change anything. When Bryce Harper comes out and says, what, we got to do better. Okay, well, we know that. So do better. I think that the bigger issue for the Phillies moving forward is, how does this group of players get the job done? Dombrowski was asked about, the state of the franchise and the state that they're in and all these different things. And Dombrowski said, look, when I got to Detroit, it was a worse situation than it is here. And if you were watching on the video like I was, you saw Rob Thompson nodding his head like, yep, yeah, you're right. That was a bad situation. Thompson knows. He's been around baseball for a long time. The current state of the Phillies is not horrible. It's just not good either. It's a very specific situation that Philadelphia Phillies are in. It's called purgatory. The Philadelphia Phillies are not good enough to be a, league championship contender, but they're not bad enough to be in the top 5 of the MLB draft, right? They're not bad enough talent-wise as, let's say, the Orioles, but they're nowhere near a team like the Dodgers or the Braves, let's say. So it's going to be on the players to figure this out. Josh Hennig here, GameNight 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. See more Phillies talk in 10 minutes with Scott Lauber for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Last night's game in the NBA Finals that you heard here on 97.3 ESPN FM was incredible. Good and bad. It was amazing and disturbing. The Warriors overtly won the first and third quarter last night. Not just in terms of scoring, but in terms of rebounding and defense and assist-to-turnover ratio. But then the Celtics were able to shut down Steph Curry for the second quarter. And then they got hot in the fourth quarter. And it felt like that the Warriors just stopped playing basketball last night. And this is the Celtics team that realistically, they're a very talented team, and they got some seriously really good coaching from Ime Udoka. But it's the diversity of their talent and their head coach's ability to put them in position to be successful that has allowed them to win game one of this series and, for lack of a better term, be fortunate. They were fortunate that Grant Williams hit all those threes in that game 7 versus the Bucks, and that the Bucks had, 4 for 33 from 3. They were horrible in that game. They were fortunate that Jimmy Butler didn't make that 3 in game 7 versus Miami. There were numerous instances beyond that the Boston Celtics would not have been where they were last night. But what Boston did was they didn't give up on themselves, and their coach didn't let them give up on themselves either. They believed in their coach, they trusted his vision, and it got them across the finish line in the end. Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart all did an incredible job last night of picking up the pieces where Jason Tatum didn't. And to me, that was the defining moment of why the Sixers are not where they want to be and why Boston is. The 76ers roster this past year was not built to have guys pick up the pieces when their best player is not getting the job done. Jason Tatum went 3 for 17 shooting last night. If Joel Embiid ever goes 3 for 17 on a shooting night, I have no confidence that this team is going to win a game. Now, that can change. If Harden is healthy next year, does that change? Maybe. Maybe another year of Maxey being more mature. Maybe that's the key. Maybe trading Tobias Harris and their first-round pick this year gets you somebody who can make you that kind of difference. The point is that Boston has something that Philadelphia doesn't. And it's not Jason Tatum. It's two things that Philadelphia didn't have this year. It's the supporting cast that is talented enough to pick up the pieces when their best player is not getting the job done. And they trust their coach. Remember the infamous video of Doc Rivers imploring his team to give a better effort and try harder and go out there and don't give up on themselves in that game that they lost to the Miami Heat in Game 6? I remember that. The players didn't believe in Doc Rivers the way Ime Udoka is believed in by his players. And that's not on Doc Rivers. Just like it's not on the Udoka. It's on the players. And I'm telling you guys right now, if the Sixers organization doesn't bring in some veteran players who trust and believe in Doc Rivers, this Sixers team won't make it to the finals next year. Because Al Horford was rallying the troops around what Udoka was saying. Marcus Smart was buying in to what Udoka was saying. The players on Boston's team were bought into what Ime Udoka was saying. Players got to play. Players got to trust. And like the Phillies players got to step up to turn this season around. Will the Sixers have players who will step up themselves instead of placing the blame on somebody else? Because sometimes all firing the coach does is act as a transaction piece in a season full of losses. We'll talk more about Joe Girardi's firing. What is next for the Phillies? Coming up on the other side with Scott Lauber from the Philadelphia Inquirer right here on Game Night with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
It's the Eastern Conference Final on Sports USA, and we're at Madison Square Garden as the Tampa Bay Lightning come to New York to battle the Rangers. The Rangers can handle the puck with Zibanejad and Panarin with the dish, and Kreider with the finish. The Bolts are defending the cup and the goal with one of the best between the pipes in Andrei Vasilevsky. It's Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final, the Lightning and the Rangers. Today on your home for the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, Sports USA.
Coverage begins at 7:30, exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. SpringfieldMitsu.com.
Ah, look, it's heartburn.
It's going to try and ruin our vacation.
Don't worry. I packed Prilosec OTC. One pill in the morning prevents excess acid production that can cause frequent heartburn.
Nice. Aloha, heartburn.
Block heartburn from your summer bucket list with Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Don't wait until you have heartburn to start Prilosec OTC. Kick your summer off right and look for Prilosec OTC at Walmart or Walmart.com.
Imagine a world where one app can deliver all your favorite brands and more. With DoorDash, get everyday essentials like groceries, convenience items, and your favorite local restaurants delivered. For a limited time, get 50% off and zero delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more using promo code ORDER22 when you download the DoorDash app or go to DoorDash.com. That's 50% off up to a $12 value and zero delivery fees on your first order when you use code ORDER22. Subject to change. Terms apply. Get more from your neighborhood with DoorDash.
97.3 ESPN and TrackPhone Wireless want to share ideas with you for enjoying the great outdoors in South Jersey. Here are some popular outdoor ideas this spring. How about taking a walk on the Ocean City, Atlantic City, or Wildwood boardwalks? Or check out the perfect place to watch a sunset. How about the Point in Longport or the Cove in Brigantine? Brought to you by TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control.
O'Reilly. Restore shine and protect your interior with Armor All cleaning and protectant wipes at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, buy 2 canisters of Armor All wipes and get 1 free. Plus, you'll earn double O Rewards points. Clean, shine, and protect with Armor All wipes available at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts or shop online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
5X480, Dayton B100 V-Belt, one of the many parts Grainger carries. It's also the item that helped Rob carry the day. The job was on hold, deadline fast approaching, but a quick search on Grainger.com and Rob found his part. And with same-day pickup at his local branch, he and his crew got the job done, safely and on time. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's all the buzz about cleaning your nose, nasal hygiene, and navage? The science is simple. Your nose is the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses, but it's not perfect. Like washing your hands and brushing your teeth, it's time to start cleaning your nose too. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the back of the nose where most germs and viruses multiply, then flushes them out the other nostril before they reach your lungs. My name's Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. It's been around thousands of years. I did invent Navage to make it easy for everyone. In less than 30 seconds, you can clean your nose. And because it's all natural and drug-free, it's safe to use Navage every single day. Are you ready to join nearly 3 million people who use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier? At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Flounder season is gearing up, and the one stop for everything you need is the bait and tackle shop at Utch's Marina in historic Cape May. Come to Utch's for a huge selection of spinning and conventional rods and combos for the boat or the surf, with top name brands available like Penn, Tsunami, Ocean Max, Shimano, and more. Utch's Marina, your home away from home at the foot of the bridge in Cape May. Stop by any day or visit CapeMayHarbor.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Phillies open a weekend series with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Mike Trout back in town. But the big news today, Joe Girardi is no longer the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. Talk more about it right now. Joining us for a few minutes right now here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Scott Lauber from the Philadelphia Inquirer joins us here to We'll talk more about it. Scott, how's your day going?
Pretty busy, Josh. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So, give me an idea of when you found out that Joe Girardi was fired. What was the first thing running through your mind as someone who covers this team day in and day out?
Well, obviously, I wanted to know more about it and why they came to that decision and why they came to it right now. I mean, I was in my reporting over the last few weeks. My understanding from people fairly high up in the organization was that Girardi's status hadn't really changed a whole lot since spring training. You know that he had a club option for next year. The Phillies had declined to pick that up, and Dave Dombrowski said in spring training that Girardi's situation would be reevaluated after the season. Now, after that, remember that May 5th loss to the Mets where they lost a 7-1 lead in the ninth inning. It was about as tough a loss or as brutal of a loss as a lot of us have seen. I asked somebody high up in the organization if anything had changed with Girardi's status and was told no, that Dombrowski has full autonomy over baseball personnel decisions and that his outlook on the situation with Girardi hadn't changed. As recently as 12 days ago in Atlanta, before that road trip began, he talked about, well, if I didn't want him to manage the team, he wouldn't be managing the team. So it wasn't what I would call a vote of confidence per se, but it was a signal to me again that they weren't considering a change at that time. And we know what's happened since. They haven't played very well. They've had a lot of kind of late losses that have been pretty gut-wrenching. Really didn't play well on that road trip in Atlanta or New York. Came home, lost the first 2 to the Giants. And in hearing from Dombrowski today, it was really sort of off of that road trip where he began to think, like, is it time to make a change? I think he looked at the schedule. He saw that the schedule softens up a bit in June. If the Phillies are going to make a move, this is the time to make it. And maybe changing the manager would be sort of the shock to the system that he felt like maybe they needed. So, that was kind of what I was thinking was, just sort of what has changed over these last few weeks. And we got a few answers to that today.
When you were listening to Dave Dombrowski answering you and the fellow media's questions today, did you feel like he painted a clear enough picture for why this decision was made? Or do you feel like you left that press conference still with questions?
Oh, no, there are a ton of questions. I mean, look, there's I've been pretty critical and will continue to be about the fact that, the problems that exist right now, namely the defense and the bullpen, they've been problems throughout Joe Girardi's tenure here. You can go back to 2020 when he took over and, they keep this stat called defensive runs saved, and the Phillies are 110 runs saved less than average. The next worst team are the Tigers. This is since 2020. The next worst team are the Tigers, and they're like 50-something runs worse. So the Phillies are like twice as bad defensively as the next worst team in the league. And when you don't catch the ball and you give teams extra outs, it's going to make it harder to win. Their bullpen isn't very good. They've lost a lot of late leads. Their bullpen ERA during Girardi's time with the Phillies was 5 even. Now, when you have a bullpen that pitches to a 5 ERA, you're going to have a lot of late losses, and you're not going to win as many games as you should. So these are problems that are not going away with a managerial change, and until they get addressed, and until the Phillies build a roster that that makes more sense in a way, I think a lot of these problems are still going to exist.
Scott Lauber from the Philadelphia Inquirer joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City. You mentioned about the issues with the defense and the bullpen. One of the questions I think a lot of fans have is how can that be addressed? Will that be addressed this season? Or is this just a situation where you just got to tighten your seatbelt and realize we still have a long summer ahead of us?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to address them in season. It really is. How do you turn a defense that is, where you're below average at really pretty much every position except like catcher, second base when Segura was healthy, and now Segura is going to be out until probably September. So it's not an easy fix. It's not an easy fix in one off season, to say nothing of during the season. it really requires some roster turnover. And I wrote something this morning that's up on the Inquirer's website now. You look at a team like the Yankees, right? The Yankees realized at the end of last year that they were not a very good defensive team. They made some moves in the offseason and sacrificed a little offense for a little bit better defense. They did so at shortstop. They did so at catcher. They did so at first base. They're a much better defensive team this year. And I'm not telling you that that's why the Yankees have gotten off to a great start. They're obviously a very good team in a lot of different areas, but they tightened up their defense, and it makes it easier to win when you catch the ball and you don't give teams free outs. And the Phillies, recognized last year that they were not a good defensive team and instead doubled down on offense. They signed Kyle Schwarber. They signed Nick Castellanos. They're both good hitters. They're both guys who are coming off very good years. They're both middle-of-the-order sluggers that a lot of teams would love to have in their lineup. It just is not clear that they fit, both of them fit in a lineup where, neither of them are particularly good defenders, and it's a team that just doesn't play good defense. So they doubled down on offense, and that was a choice they made. And for 2 seasons now, they've said, look, we know we're not a good defensive team. We'll hit over our mistakes, and they haven't hit over their mistakes, not enough. So that's kind of the situation that they're in.
They brought the stat on the post-game show on TV, Scott, that the Phillies are 14-6 when they score at least 5 runs this season. Well, since Kyle Schwarber became the leadoff hitter again, they're averaging 4 runs a game. So, is this offense capable of out-hitting their mistakes, or is that another flawed misnomer in the construction of this team?
Oh, I think it's capable. I mean, look, on paper, a lineup that contains Harper, Realmuto, Hoskins, Schwarber, and Castellanos in some order, shuffle them up, right, and put them in some order in your lineup, they ought to score a lot of runs. And that was sort of the plan going in, and that was the gamble that they made, the wager that they made, that they would score a lot of runs. I still think they're going to score a lot of runs. The problem is when you have when you have the league's worst defense and you have a bullpen that's prone to giving up late leads, you need everybody to be hot really at the same time. You need to score a lot of runs a lot of the time. And offenses, as we know, can kind of go into funks for a little while. Players, as we know, can kind of go into funks for a little while, and then they come out of it and this and that. I think it's much harder to consistently outslug your own defense in your own bullpen, and hope to win that way, or hope to make the playoffs that way. So I do think that they're going to still score a lot of runs. I just, there's a reason why, if you look back through, and I did this, in spring training and earlier in the season, there's a reason why most bad defensive teams don't make the postseason.
Couple more questions here for Scott Lauber from the Philadelphia Inquirer. You can follow him on Twitter at Scott Lauber on Twitter. Check out all of his coverage of the Phillies at the Philadelphia Inquirer and at Philadelphia Inquirer on Twitter. Scott, moving forward, in many ways, you laid it out. A lot of the people laid it out. This team will only turn around if the players are able to clean up some of their mistakes. So what is the next step for this organization now that they are on their 5th manager in 9 seasons?
Well, I mean, look, I think one lesson that I think a lot of people have learned is that it's not about the manager per se, right? I mean, everybody was screaming for Gabe Kapler to lose his job, and he didn't suddenly get smart last year with the Giants and win 107 games.
Right.
Just as like he wasn't dumb when he was here. I mean, he just didn't have, he didn't have the right mix of players. And Joe Girardi was not a good manager in New York for 10 years and suddenly forgot how to manage when he got here. It's that, it's kind of, I've called it a Frankenstein's monster of a roster, and that's really what it is. It's just, you look at the pieces and it's hard to see how it fits together in a, if it fits together, it's awfully clumsy. And, so I think that, I mean, look, it's, for me, you can do whatever you want. You can put whoever you want in that manager seat. But if you don't fix the holes in the roster, you're going to continue to repeat the same thing over and over and over again, no matter who's in there. So, Rob Thompson's got the job now on an interim basis and, for the rest of the season. And, good luck to them, because if they don't catch the ball and if they don't protect leads, the win-loss record at the end of the year is not going to be a whole lot better than it is right now.
Before I let you go, Scott, you just mentioned the phrase Frankenstein's monster. Is there anything logistically or reasonable or any thought that you have that Dombrowski can do anything before the trade deadline to maybe tune up Frankenstein's monster?
I mean, I look. I think he's going to try. I mean, to me, the thought process here is simple, right? Like I said, that the schedule is going to soften up here over the next month or so. They're going to get a lot of Arizona, and they're going to get a lot of Washington, and they're going to get some Miami in there. We know the Marlins have always been tough with them, but they've struggled this year as well. They're going to get, as tough as the schedule was in May, it softens in June. So, you can see that, the thought process is, okay, let's go on a bit of a run here, try to climb back into it. And then go for it with, making some moves at the trade deadline. I don't know. It's awfully early still, beginning of June. The trade market really hasn't crystallized yet. So it's hard to know what's going to be available and what's going to be out there. But, I don't think you make a move like this with your manager the first week of June if you don't think you can turn it around. And so over the next month, they're going to try to get healthy against some bad competition and try to climb back into this thing and see if they can't, make some changes to that roster that will help them legitimately climb back into the race.
Well, according to MLB.com, 174 times has a team changed the manager in season, and only 14 of those teams made the playoffs. Could the Phillies be 15? Well, make sure you keep it tuned to Scott Lauber on Twitter at Scott Lauber, covering the Phillies for the Philadelphia Inquirer. He joined us right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Scott, appreciate you making the time.
You bet. Anytime.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night, hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM. Text board is open at 609-403-0973. With the guys' thoughts and comments. It's just a couple of thoughts I want to take away from what Scott Lauber said there. You heard him emphasize multiple times the issues with the defense. You heard me bring up the stats as well just about 20 minutes ago here on the show. This team is so bad defensively that no manager is fixing that. No manager is fixing Odubel Herrera or Roman Quinn or Jurius Familia or Alec Bohm or any of these guys' defensive flaws, whether it's mental or physical, right? So when you think about how this team is going to move forward, it's going to come down to the players having enough professional pride to say, I don't want to be a loser. I want to be better. Okay. One of my favorite parts of the movie Major League was the moment the players realized that the team was built to lose. And they all gathered around and said, they basically, and I can't quote it exactly because there's some bad language in it, but basically saying, we don't want to be losers. They made this team so it could lose, and we're going to make them regret it, and we're going to go out there and win. And I know it's a movie, okay? I get that, but it's a similar concept in real life. When you're handed a poor hand, okay? When you're handed lemons, are you going to make lemonade, or are you just going to complain about how you got handed lemons, right? Joe Girardi was not the problem. He was part of the problem. He was an element, an extension of the problem, but he was not the problem. Joe Girardi, at the end of the day, was a guy who was in a no-win situation. It didn't matter who was the manager. It doesn't fix all the problems. Now, could have Girardi managed the bullpen differently? Absolutely. Okay? Could Girardi have done certain things differently with the lineup? Sure. But at some point, if the manager was the only problem, then why is this team statistically so bad at defense? Why is this bullpen only 20th in baseball and not 30th in baseball in ERA, right? At what point is it just Dombrowski fired the manager to give himself more rope to work with so he doesn't lose his job. There's no reason why major league players can't make the same plays that I see kids between 9 and 19 make on a daily basis. In the outfield, in the infield. That's why, to me, and I told you guys this early in the week, you can fire the manager if you want, but you got to shake up the roster. You got to make a trade that's going to make the players step back and say, ooh, that's a serious move right there. You know, I don't want to see them trade some random player. I want to see them trade a Rhys Hoskins. I want to see them trade a guy of a certain stature to tell the rest of the team, we're not putting up with this anymore. And the players, like I said, they got to have enough professional pride to say, hey, guys, we haven't played good enough. We stink. We got to go out there and play better. And unless they're willing to do that, this team will be nothing more than a sub 500 team the rest of the season. Over on the text board at 609-403-0973. Texter says, Phillies could have had the best defensive player in the game, Matt Chapman, but he went to Toronto. Well, there's a problem with that, Texter. And I'm going to disagree with you. The Blue Jays traded some top-tier blue chip prospects to get Matt Chapman. Dave Dombrowski has come out and said that he does not want to trade some of this team's best assets because he's trying to rebuild the farm system. All right. You know, one of the problems that the Phillies have right now is that when they handed the reins away from Ruben Amaro and to the Andy McPhail / Matt Klentak enterprise that was here, they did it with the idea that these guys were going to come in here and rebuild this team as it had been done in the past. You know, when it was Ed Wade and then Pat Gillett and then Ruben Amaro, there was a lot of the organization that was built through the minor leagues. Your best players, when they won the World Series, were all cultivated through the minors. It was only a couple guys that you got through free agency or trades. Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Cole Hamels. These guys were homebred. These guys were come through the farm system. You know, Pat Burrell was a guy who came through the system. Brad Lidge, he was a trade, but you traded some of your young prospects for him. You traded your young talent to get some of these guys. Fred Myers was your own homebred guy, right? So the point is that in order to get Matt Chapman, the Blue Jays had to trade some of their top prospects to get him. Oakland drove a hard bargain. You know, that's the reason why Montez is still with Oakland, because, you know, I was reading an article in The Athletic by Ken Rosenthal where he was saying, you know, the Athletics they're demanding basically a ransom for Montez. And the Twins want him really bad, but the Twins are not willing to give up an arm and a leg to get him. The Phillies are an organization that doesn't have the prospects to compete with some of these other organizations. They don't have the talent in the minor leagues to come up with a competitive offer unless they want to leave themselves bone dry. So I have to disagree with you, Texter. They could not have had Matt Chapman, because in order to get a guy like a Matt Chapman, you have to give up premier minor league talent. And Mickey Moniak does not qualify as premier minor league talent. Look, one of the best prospects this organization has had in the last several years was J.P. Crawford. There was a point where J.P. Crawford was thought to be the number one prospect in all of baseball, okay? This was a guy who was drafted in 2013. That was before the Matt Klentak era. And after a couple of years, the Phillies finally capitulated, gave in, and traded him away. The only player of significance they got in that deal was Gene Segura. Juan Nicasio and James Pazos were basically whatevers at that point. The organization, when they were trying to rebuild, traded away one of the top prospects in baseball for 2 throwaway pitchers and a good, not great infielder. Dave Dombrowski is in a no-win situation just like his manager, but he's in a better position to turn this thing around than the manager is. You're not getting people like Matt Chapman if you're calling the A's and say, well, I can give you Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm and I don't even know who else would qualify as a top prospect at this point. Like, the Phillies have made so many mistakes in the draft in the last several years under Klentak and McPhail that the organization has basically become a joke. Nobody wants their prospects. Nobody. Hoskins has value. You know why? Because he's shown for 5 years that he can hit home runs and hit RBI. He's basically a DH to somebody. Aaron Nola has value. He was third in the Cy Young a few years ago. He's one of the league leaders in strikeouts. He has value. People look at the Phillies minor league system and just shake their head. This is a long uphill battle right now for Philadelphia. And there's no guarantee it's going to get better anytime soon. I'm Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. We'll get to more of your thoughts on the other side. You can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City, or you can text in at 609-403-0973. Here's the lineup coming up on 97.3 ESPN FM. Eastern Conference Finals Game 2 tonight between the Rangers and Lightning. Coverage begins at 7:30 tonight on 97.3 ESPN FM. Tomorrow, Western Conference Game 3, Avs versus Oilers back in Edmonton. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN FM. Then 7 p.m. on Sunday night, NBA Finals Game 2. We are your home for the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, the NHL, the NBA playoffs, NFL primetime games all season long, all that and more right here on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein. Mike Carlin joins me in the studio. We will react to the Phillies firing of their manager, Joe Girardi. The sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan checks in from Vegas with his weekly segment. Dave sheds light on who the books like to win the NBA championship and Stanley Cup. Then it's our second installment of the Beach Patrol Report, brought to you by Groundhogs Moving Company. This week we will talk with the captain of the Wildwood Beach Patrol, Ed Schneider. All that and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
Big down payments. Thousands down. We interviewed the victims. Tell us what happened, ma'am.
Well, I says to myself, South, go to the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. Every vehicle's just one dime down.
And then?
I ended up at some other dealer.
Why?
They had guaranteed credit.
Let me guess, $4,000 down.
Yeah, $4,000.
Next time, go to Springfield Mitsubishi of Atlantic City. Springfield Mitsubishi knows it's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every vehicle, one dime down.
but my credit stinks.
Just ask for credit amnesty. If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
222 Mirage, 16 Ford, 9 down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
Tracy, line 1 is looking for a quote on a mini split.
Crazy spring temperatures are heating up DeWitt HVAC phone lines.
Next week we're booked solid.
If they don't find more technicians, they'll be in hot water.
How are we down 3 technicians in the past 3 weeks?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
97.3 ESPN and TrackPhone Wireless want to share ideas with you for enjoying the great outdoors in South Jersey. Here are some popular outdoor ideas this spring. How about taking a walk on the Ocean City, Atlantic City, or Wildwood boardwalks? Or check out the perfect place to watch a sunset. How about the Point in Longport or the Cove in Brigantine? Brought to you by TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control.
This is Matt Crowder live at the gas station on 41st Street reporting on those skyrocketing gas prices. Excuse me, miss, are you buying less gas now because of the high prices?
Oh, I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute, are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Well, does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Stop paying full price for gas. Download the free Upside app and get real cash back every time you buy gas. This is Matt Crowder Radio News Network. Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PATH for a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PATH for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code PATH.
What's all the buzz about cleaning your nose, nasal hygiene, and Navage? The science is simple. Your nose is the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses, but it's not perfect. Like washing your hands and brushing your teeth, it's time to start cleaning your nose too. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the back of the nose where most germs and viruses multiply, then flushes them out the other nostril before they reach your lungs. My name's Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. It's been around thousands of years. I did invent Navage to make it easy for everyone. In less than 30 seconds, you can clean your nose. And because it's all natural and drug-free, it's safe to use Navage every single day. Are you ready to join nearly 3 million people who use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier? At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
O'Reilly.
Restore shine and protect your interior with Armor All cleaning and protectant wipes at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, buy 2 canisters of Armor All wipes and get one free. Plus, you'll earn double O Rewards points. Clean, shine, and protect with Armor All wipes available at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts or shop online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Whether you're working in an office or remote, Staples has your tech.
New AirPods so I can turn up the music and tune out distractions.
Staples has your tech.
A Wi-Fi extender for faster downloads? A portable keyboard so I can work from anywhere.
Staples has you covered with tech solutions and accessories, from the latest laptops to networking solutions. And now, Apple AirPods Pro are just $189. You save $60. The latest tech solutions are at Staples, the working and learning store. N64 in-store only, limit 2 while supplies last.
The future will be amazing, and that's all well and good. But what about today? You can feel the rush of a 400-horsepower Nissan Z, or climb to new heights in the all-terrain Nissan Frontier. Light up the road in the all-electric Nissan Ariya that feels like a sci-fi dream come true. The future will be great, but today is made for thrill. All you have to do is get in a Nissan and drive. 2023 Ariya and Z not yet available for purchase. Expected availability is this spring for 2023 Z and this fall for 2023 Ariya.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Game Night being brought to you by the AC Airport. Get ready to plan your next vacation now with Spirit Airlines. They're offering nonstop flights from Atlantic City International Airport to Boston, Atlanta, San Juan, Miami, and other exciting destinations. Book your next vacation with Spirit.com today. Wrapping up the show here, a couple of messages to get to before we get out of here. Of course, Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Friday night here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Over on the DMs, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Hal from Wilmington says, I was completely shocked with the early game so far in these NHL conference finals. I have to give the Rangers a lot of credit. They beat a good Hurricanes team in 7 and then beat the Lightning in game 1. It will be interesting to see if they can win 2 in a row against Tampa. That's from Hal in Wilmington. Yeah, Hal, the Rangers are one of those teams that we always looked at and we're like, they have talent, right? They're the classic team has talent, doesn't have success on the field, on the ice, on the court. In many ways, the Rangers were starting to feel like, as an organization, okay, they were starting to feel like a Phoenix Suns, a team that, has a lot of talent at different points in time over a 20-year period, but they can't win a championship, right? And in many ways, they couldn't even get out of the first, second round a couple times. And a lot of people assumed that Carolina was going to win that series. And when they beat Carolina and got to the conference finals, you thought, okay, this is going to be a 6-game series. Tampa wins in 6, right? But the Rangers came out and absolutely blitzkrieged them in that first game. And I'm fascinated to find out, what does that game look like tonight? How do the Tampa Bay Lightning make the adjustment? This is a team that has won 2 straight cups. These are veterans. How do they make adjustments? Especially the best goalie in all of hockey, Andrei Vasilevsky. How does he make adjustments? How does he better? It's a very fascinating situation. And I think that, for Ranger fans out there, and I know some of them are probably listening to my voice right now. They're giving me the side eye, but I'm going to tell you right now, if the Rangers can get out of this series, they could win the cup. Confidence is a powerful thing. A team that has confidence is dangerous. And I think the Rangers right now are starting to cross that line from being a good hockey team that's playing well to a confident hockey team that is threatening. And I think the Rangers, as Dave Sharapan said earlier this week when he was on Game Night, Rangers are a live dog right now in this series. I don't know if they're going to win tonight, per se. I'm with Hal. I'd be shocked if they win 2 in a row against Tampa. But to say the Rangers can't win this series, we'll find out tonight. Coverage again at 7:30 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN FM.